Welcome to my YouTube channel. Please be sure to subscribe to my channel and also do not forget to press the bell icon so you never miss any video tutorial published by me.
Students, so all the students, welcome back to my YouTube channel Conquest Biology. So let us continue our class of photosynthesis. So in the last video we discussed about the definition of photosynthesis, photosystem first, photosystem second. So today let us discuss the structure of chloroplast, which is present majorly in leaves. In leaves we can find like around 200 to 400 chloroplasts. So they are in abundance in leaf. That is why leaf is the site of synthesis for photosynthesis. So this is the structure basically. It has got two parts. One of them is stroma, this space, and another one is like thylakoid. So these thylakoids are very important from a light reaction point of view, because these thylakoids. So before I discuss more about thylakoids, let us discuss all the other structures. It is a double membranous structure. Chloroplast is a double membranous structure. It has inner envelope, this one, intermembrane space, and outer envelope. This is outer envelope, this is inner envelope, and the space in between is intermembrane space. Now, stroma we discussed, and these are stroma lamellae basically, and on these sides we can find, these are the site of photosystem first that we discussed earlier. We will discuss the structure of thylakoid in very much detail after this, because that is very important. Because in the thylakoid membrane itself, various structures related to Z scheme, like zigzag scheme, because it is Z shaped, that we discussed in last video as well. So those structures are located. So this is thylakoid, this single coin like structure. It is thylakoid. When several thylakoids are there, like they form a stack. Like if we have coins and we keep coins one after the other, then we get this kind of structure. Right? So this entire structure is known as grana, and this entire thing is grana lamellae. This is stroma lamellae. It doesn't have stack of anything. It is just simple linear, like a 2D kind of structure. And this is grana lamellae, which is stack of thylakoids, and here we can find photosystem second. So now let us look at this important structure. This entire structure I have made here as well. So this structure, this is thylakoid. This is thylakoid lumen. This green space. And this is the membrane. This is thylakoid membrane. Here we can find a lot of structures. We will discuss these structures in the next video also. So granum, which is a stack of thylakoids, like when thylakoids are arranged one after the other, then they form granum or grana. And this is stroma lamellae. This structure does not have any stack. This is just a simple structure. So now this green colored structure is lumen, and this red colored boundary is actually the membrane. So now let us discuss the structure of chlorophyll and various other important pigments like carotenoids and all. Before that, I will show you guys what are the other components that are required for Z scheme and where exactly they are located in the thylakoid membrane. So now let us understand organization of light reaction machinery which are mainly of 5 types on the membrane of thylakoid, which is present in the chloroplast. Unstacked or non-appraised region, like this is the stacked region, but these regions which are free, these are unstacked or non-appraised. So on non-appraised region, we can find photosystem 1, which is represented by this structure. Photosystem 1 is found only in unstacked region. In the same way, FNR also, which is represented by this oval structure. FNR, flavin nucleotide reductase, it has very important role in light reaction. So it is also present in the non-appraised or unstacked region of the thylakoid membrane. Apart from this, CF0F1, like we had in mitochondria, we had ATP synthase. If you haven't watched the video yet, I have already uploaded a video of ATP synthase. So in my previous video, which was related to cellular respiration, in the same in mitochondria, ATP synthase is known as F0, F1. Here in chloroplast, it is known as CF0 by F1, ATP synthase, which is represented by this structure. These are also found only in non-appraised regions. Now, let us talk about appraised or stacked region. So, photosystem second is the structure which is found exclusively in the stacked regions. Like these are stacked regions. Mainly this is found only in stacked regions, not on the non-appraised regions. Whereas this structure, cytochrome B6F, which is represented by this black color, this is PS second, photosystem second. Cytochrome B6F, which is represented by black color, it is uniformly distributed. Like neither it is present mainly in stacked or not in unstacked region. It is distributed evenly. Like here also it is present, here also, here also, here also. So the distribution is basically uniform. So now let us understand how exactly Z scheme looks like and what are other structures which participate in Z scheme or zigzag scheme of light reaction of photosynthesis. Students, now let us understand detailed Z or Z zigzag scheme for auto-evolving photosynthetic organisms. Like the Z scheme operates in these kind of organisms like us, like in plants. So these are some of the proteins which are used during Z scheme. PHE is represented by pheophytin, PQ, plastoquinone, cytochrome B6F is cytochrome B6F, PC is plastocyanin. Now A1 A1 is phylloquinone, FES is iron sulfur center. I'm not making diagrams of these components because you can check it is a factual thing, so you may check in the book or in internet to have a better understanding. Right? FD is ferredoxin and FNR is ferredoxin NADP reductase. So let me tell you this, what happens in oxygen evolving complex. Here manganese ion is very important. Manganese, which is in 5+ state, like it has lost 5 electrons. That's why it has 5+ state, oxidation state. So as soon as light is captured and the water is split by oxygen evolving complex, then we get 4H plus and 4 electrons. All these things occur in lumen of thylakoid, and this process occurs in stroma. thylakoid. So we get 4 electrons over here. Now what manganese do is, manganese captures these 4 electrons. It operates, basically manganese cycle is operated here. So, and after capturing manganese, one by one, this manganese keep on transferring these 4 electrons to XY complex. It is and XY complex transfers these electrons to photosystem second, P680. So role of manganese is that it does not give all the 4 electrons in one go, like one by one. First it will transfer 1 electron, then after second, then third, then fourth to the XY complex, then finally to P680. After absorbing, after having electron, it gets excited. Photosystem second gets excited and it reaches a higher state. I mean, it has a lot of energy right now. So it basically the electron, it gets the electron from here and then it jumps into a higher energy state. Now the electron captured by P680 gets transferred to pheophytin, then to plastoquinone A, plastoquinone B, then plastoquinone, then cytochrome B6F, then plastocyanin. Then finally the electron reaches photosystem first. Now from after getting the electron, it also reaches photosystem first, also reaches higher state. I mean, it gets energized and it reaches a higher state, energy state. Now P700, that is photosystem first, transfers the electron to A0, which is phylloquinone, A1, which is also phylloquinone, FeSX, iron sulfur protein X, iron sulfur protein A, then to iron sulfur protein B, then ferredoxin, Fd, and ultimately ferredoxin transfers the electrons to the FNR, which is ferredoxin NADP reductase. After getting the electron, it finally transfers the electron to NADP plus, which is in oxidized state. But after getting electron from FNR, it gets reduced because gaining of electron is reduction and it forms NADP. This particular phenomenon occurs in stroma basically. So this is the detailed Z scheme or zigzag scheme. We will also study in the next video how exactly these structures look like in a thylakoid membrane and how exactly H plus are pumped so that ATP, we got NADPH over here, we got oxygen over here. Now we also need to understand how ATP are formed. Basically the process is same as that of ATP synthesis in mitochondria cells. Because it is also based on chemiosmotic theory, like because of the gradient of H plus ion from one membrane, from one area to another area, there is a proton gradient, and because of that only H plus are pumped, and then the energy produced by that is used to make ATPs. So now let us understand that. I hope this thing is clear. One more thing I would like to tell you that there are two types of electron. This is known as electron transport system, ETS, not electron transport chain, which occurs in mitochondria. Basically, I mean, people use these terms like they may say electron transport system or electron transport chain. That is more or less the same thing. So there are two types of electron transport systems, like cyclic and non-cyclic. As I told you, here 4 electrons are captured by manganese, and manganese cycle is operated, in which electron is transferred to XY complex one by one. So in non-cyclic ETS, all the 4 electrons are pumped by manganese. So all the processes take place. like ATP formation, photophosphorylation. We will start with that in the next discussion, and NADPH reduction, NADP plus reduction into NADPH. It occurs in non-cyclic. I will discuss this point again. It occurs in non-cyclic, but in cyclic ETS, in cyclic electron transport system, only one electron is rotated from ferredoxin again to plastoquinone, and the same electron keeps circulating. That is why it is known as cyclic electron transport system. So in that case, what happens is only one electron from manganese is transferred and others are not transferred because the same previous electron is being recycled. So manganese is unable to pump other electrons, like yield other electrons, and because of this NADPH formation and electron transport is blocked, but ATPs are still synthesized because H plus is pumped. We will discuss that now. I'm just giving you an idea that in cyclic ETS, one electron is circulated from FD to ferredoxin to plastoquinone again and again. But in non-cyclic ETS, all the 4 electrons are utilized. So now let us see how exactly all these protein complexes look like when they are present in the thylakoid membrane. So now let us understand how exactly the protein structures look like on a thylakoid membrane and how electron transfer is coupled with proton pumping and how exactly ATPs are synthesized. So basically this is the lumen of thylakoid and this is the stroma of thylakoid. Now what happens is, we know that here water splitting occurs by oxygen evolution complex. So after splitting of water, these basically electrons are, the movement and path of electron is represented by these dashed green colored lines, and movement of protons H plus are indicated by these solid red lines. Here H plus I am showing in black color because it has come from the water splitting, and the H plus which has come from the stroma by pumping I am showing in red color. So basically water will be split and O2 will be evolved. Electron will move from photosystem second to plastoquinone, which will get reduced into PQH2. Like earlier it was in oxidized state. So, and the transfer will be further, and the electron will be transferred from cytochrome B6F to finally to plastocyanin and then finally to photosystem first. Right? And then it will reach to ferredoxin as I showed you earlier in the zigzag scheme, then FNR. And finally, this electron will be utilized for the reduction of NADP plus into NADPH. So here, if we will see the ultimate, okay, I will talk about it later. Now, let us understand how H plus are pumped. Now, electron transport is also coupled with H plus pumping from stroma to lumen. Already lumen has high gradient of H plus because water splitting took place over here. Now H plus will further be pumped by cytochrome B6F from stroma to lumen. So it will get even more acidic because H plus ions, more H plus ions means high acidity and low pH. So basically H plus will be pumped over here. Now because H plus will contribute to what? It will contribute to chemical gradient because pH, like acid, is a chemical, right? But the H plus charge, it has plus charge also. So electrical, what electricity is? It is transfer of electron and proton or something like that. I don't want to go into that much of depth. So, because it has plus charge and more plus charge is concentrated here now. So, it has electrical component also. So, we will say on lumen side now, after pumping of H plus already was in abundance over here. Further, H plus was pumped by cytochrome B6 as well. So now here the gradient of high electrochemical gradient potential or gradient is existing in human, which will help in synthesis of ATPs. So NADPH has been synthesized. Now these this H plus which were already present from in the lumen and then H plus which were pumped, they all will move through ATP synthesis as the ATP synthesis is same as that of mitochondrial ATP synthesis. So from here it will move here, and because of this free energy will be generated. Movement of H plus will generate free energy, because when the movement is passive, like from high to low gradient, that time energy is not utilized. Energy is generated. If we move H plus from here to here, then we will require ATP. ATP will have to be used. But here, since opposite is happening, H plus is moving from high to low gradient, which is a natural phenomena. So rather than being utilized, ATPs will be formed. So these are known as reverse pumps also. Reverse pumps means pump basically what they do. Like if we are living on the top floor and we want water to be pulled, that time we use pump, because gravity wants to pull water down, but we want it up. So we are using motors and pump to pump it. But here it is natural phenomena. It is supposed to move like this only, from high to low. So this time phenomena of reverse pump will take place. Like we don't need pump, we don't need electricity or motor to pump anything. Automatically it will occur. So this time energy will be generated rather than being utilized. So ATP plus inorganic phosphate will ultimately form ATP. That's what we need. Now this was the light reaction. Now this NADPH which has been formed and ATP which has been formed here in light reaction will be used in the dark reaction, which we will discuss later on. So here high electrochemical potential is present, here low. So automatically it will move like this. So here if we see who is the ultimate electron donor, it is water, because it splits into oxygen H plus and electron. Electron I am showing it over here, right? And who is the ultimate electron acceptor over here? It is NADP plus, which after receiving the electron gets converted into NADPH. So, and also I talked about cyclic ETS in the last discussion. So in cyclic 1, only ATP will be formed, because electron from ferredoxin, one electron from ferredoxin will come to PQ again and again. It will keep on circulating like this. And manganese will not be able to pump to yield other electrons which it has captured. So in this case, since H plus will be pumped by PQ plus to Q non and then cytochrome B6S, so ATP will still be formed, but this phenomena will not occur. Neither splitting of further oxygen will occur, because only H plus is being pumped. Further electron is not coming. If electron will not come from here, then how NADP plus will be reduced to NADPH? So let me write it. In non-cyclic ETS, what will occur? Everything will occur. ATP will be formed, right? That means photophosphorylation. It is also known as formation of ATP over here is also known as photophosphorylation, because it is occurring because of light, light from sun. So that's why we call it photophosphorylation. This phosphorylation is occurring due to photon of light. ATP will be formed, photophosphorylation. NADPH will be formed, right? And O2 evolution will also occur. But in cyclic ETS, only ATP will be formed. These two processes will be blocked. Right? I hope it is clear. So I hope I have discussed all the aspects. In this one, I didn't explain exactly much about how rotor is rotating and everything, because if you want to watch exactly how ATPs are formed, you can watch my previous videos based on mitochondria. So in those videos, I have very well explained it in detail, much more detail than this one. So we discussed cyclic ETS and non-cyclic ETS, right? And I think everything which is important I have already discussed. So that's all about Z scheme and photophosphorylation and movement of electron and H plus in the thylakoid membrane. So that's how light reaction takes place in chloroplast. Basically in the thylakoid membrane, which is a part of chloroplast. So in next video we will discuss about the dark reaction, wherein we need these. If plants are generating ATP and NADPH, then obviously it is for purpose, on purpose. Without any purpose, they won't do this much of hard work. So these NADPH, we will discuss how exactly these NADPH and these ATPs help in dark reaction. And in dark reaction which occurs in stroma, we will see how exactly photosynthate is formed. Photosynthate means the glucose carbohydrate. Right? So that's about light reaction of photosynthesis.